what if my final product needs to be done in 2 different factories and then combined? What is the best strategy? So there's obviously a few different ways, like thought process to go through this. Like mentioned by the person who submitted this question, should I buy them separated, send them to my house and then combine them? So you got 2 factories. Let's just pretend you're selling hat and gloves. Random example. Your hat factory is in one city in China. Your glove factory is in another city in China. So do I have them send a bunch of hats, a bunch of gloves, and then at my house, I combine them into my little bundle? That's one option, right? Or do I buy one of the parts from my hat factory, have the hat factory ship the hats over to my glove factory? My glove factory combines them into my nice little bundle, and then my glove factory sends them to me. So that's another option. The option that I would strongly encourage you to explore and consider would be option number 2, right? Have one factory make hats for you, have them ship it to your glove factory, have your glove factory assemble the bundle and ship it to you or your prep center or whatever. I think you guys know you can spot the obvious reasons why having them shipped to your house and then combining them is going to be an absolute nightmare in the short term. And I'm going to explain maybe an alternative to this, but it would be probably a long-term solution. In the short term, you are going to be manually combining every single product and you're going to have to package them somehow. That's what's going to be really tricky. Like, are you going to go buy 1,000 poly bags and put them in the poly bag and seal it and then print off the label and stick it on? Like, you could do that, but you're going to be doing a ton of manual labor to do that. If that is what's most comfortable to you though, then that might be your best option. And again, this is kind of where it kind of gets tricky because you got to think about it from a cost-effective standpoint, but also from, your own time standpoint. If you got a full-time job and you're side hustling, like you might not have time to do that. But maybe if you have kids or someone else living with you that can do that and they're willing to do that, then that might be a decent option for you. There's some sweat equity, but it might save you some money and you'll feel safer about it because you're shipping just everything to you. You're not shipping between suppliers. So from a comfort standpoint, it might not be a bad option. However, I still personally think that having one factory ship to another factory and having them do the prep for you and then ship it to you is going to be the most cost-effective strategy because your time is going to be worth a lot more than their time. Like if you're going to be manually doing this yourself, like think about what is your time worth on an hourly basis? Like what do you get paid at your current job? Like if you're working for $50 an hour, then it's not worth $50 an hour for you to be manually prepping packages when you could pay someone 25 cents to do that. So I would go that route, but I would make sure you do your due diligence. Like I would make sure you're communicating very clearly with both your suppliers, getting a feel for who you trust more, getting a feel for who could package. So you might say, hey, so I know you don't make gloves because you've already asked them if they can, and they obviously can. I know you don't make gloves, but if I were to have a box of 500 gloves sent to you, would you be able to prep those into one package according to my specifications that you send them and then ship those to me? And kind of get a vibe for like, yeah, we could do that. Or I don't know how we do that, or I'm not really sure. And you can kind of get a vibe and then ask the other factory the exact same question. Hey, if I shipped you some hats, could you bundle those with your gloves and prep them in the poly bag and then ship them to me and get a feel for them and get a feel for like who's feeling better, who you trust more. Some other things you could do is look at where they're located. You could see where they're located in China. And I mean, if you're shipping air, it shouldn't be as much as an issue, but if you're shipping boat, you probably want to ship to the factory that's nearest the port. So if your hat factory is super inland China, you're going to want to have them ship to your port factory. They're going to prep and the port factory is going to ship it to you. Otherwise, this is what's going to end up happening. Let's pretend you start with your port factory, right? And you ship it from your port factory to your inland factory. Then your inland factory turns around and ships it back to the port and then to you. You're kind of paying for shipping. You're paying for shipping twice because you're having stuff sent to one factory and then they're sending it back to the port. So you could look at the location of the factory and consider that as well. That's more if you're doing boat. Again, if you're shipping air, it shouldn't really matter. They're going to ship air from wherever they're located. So that's more for if you're shipping boat freight, and you need to consider that. But again, this really all comes down to kind of your level of comfort, your level of confidence in the factories that you're working with, and do a trial. Absolutely do a trial. So say you got your hat and your glove factories. You found 2 factories. You like their products. Do a sample order trial run. Tell your glove factory, hey, I need you to send 1 pair of gloves to this factory. And then notify your factory, hey, my factory is going to send you 1 pair of gloves. I need you to package that with my hat and ship it to me. And then see if it works. Like, did they do it? Yes, they did it. Ask them, how'd it go? Was it good? Do you have any issues? Is there any problems? No, it's good. I did. I shipped it to them. They shipped, right? So do sample runs, do trial runs. Don't just be like, okay, I found a hat factory. I found a glove factory. I got samples. They both look good. Cool. 1,000 units, send it to my homie over there, right? You can see that's just not being smart with your money and your risk. Like, test it out on a small scale, make sure it works, and then proceed from there.